Greetings, Captain. Welcome to Stowbutter's Elite TFO training for Guillotine. As usual, we'll start with objectives.
The first objective is to destroy the 10-dimensional conveyors in the Unicomplex. Second, deploy the 6 stitching anchors and defend them until they are fully shielded. The Borg can disable no more than 3 anchors during this stage, or the mission will fail. Next, destroy all Borg assimilators attempting to escape during this stage. If even one escapes, the mission fails. Lastly, once all anchors are deployed and shielded, defeat the 2 tactical cubes.
Thank you. On to risks and rewards. This TFO needs moderate to high coordination to play well on Elite, with all optionals and without dying. It is possible to complete in a public group, but a tank is usually needed for deathless completion, and it is difficult to coordinate stitching anchors. Enemy threat level is moderately high, as Mirror Borg will drain shields and deal a decent amount of damage, and there are many Borg ships. Since these are Mirror Borg, their spheres can also self-destruct with a 4-kilometer radius for significant damage. This TFO awards a moderate to high amount of Omega or Fleet Marks, along with a chance for subspace comm power pieces. Lastly, this operation is of moderate length, depending on how quickly your team can deploy and defend the stitching anchors. At around 8 minutes besides briefing for a coordinated high DPS team closing all the anchors simultaneously, or around 12 minutes for a team that takes the anchors in pieces. The adversaries on this operation are Mirror Borg. The most notable difference between Mirror Borg and Prime Universe Borg is that their spheres can self-destruct when low health. Just like their Prime Universe counterparts, Mirror Borg vessels have a powerful shield drain ability, so encounters with them need to account for low shield uptime. Significant enemy damage is expected. The key part of this operation is the second stage, as the first and third stages are straightforward. Once the stitching anchors are ready in the second stage, gauge your team's ability. Since there is no maximum timer on the stitching anchors or the overall TFO, your team can choose based on their ability if they can handle covering them all simultaneously, or if they need to take them in stages. High-end, coordinated teams can have 2 players float in the middle, sweeping enemies emerging from the Unicomplex, and defeating any assimilators to prevent them from escaping. One of these players should probably be a tank, since this will have the highest threat level, and ideally a DPS-oriented or heavy tank. That leaves 3 players to each defend 2 of the stitching anchors, which is very doable if you have high-end coordinated players. For example, ships capable of doing 500k or even 300k on ISC are probably fine. Ships with less damage will want to adopt a different tactic. For less capable or uncoordinated teams, we recommend that you only deploy 3 of the anchors at a time. This will slow down the TFO somewhat, by about 4 to 5 minutes, but reduces risk of failure, as 3 players can each cover a stitching anchor, while the other 2 focus on the middle and assimilators. Remember that none of the assimilators can be allowed to escape or the mission will fail. In this video, we will demonstrate the strategy of deploying only 3 stitching anchors at a time in the second stage. If you would like to see how a high-end coordinated team can deploy all 6 anchors and defend them, as well as prevent assimilators from escaping at the same time, please see our single target energy video of this same TFO. Fire at will builds are effective on this map, as you will frequently be engaging multiple targets from multiple angles. However, high hit point targets in the second and third stages will require more time to kill. In the opening stage, engage the Mirror Borg, focusing on the larger targets like assimilators and the cube first, then moving to the conveyors, which are marked with a red symbol. Be careful if you are running without a tank, as we did on this map. You'll notice that I used reverse shield polarity to sustain my hull until most of the Borg ships are cleared out, and even then I take significant damage in this stage. If you are less survivable, flying less aggressively is advised. Once all the enemies are destroyed, there will likely be some waiting for new conveyors to respawn until all 10 are defeated and the next stage starts.
Submit to our authority and prepare for assimilation.
In the second stage, spread out and cover the anchors. In this run, we chose to only activate 3 anchors at a time, leaving 1 player to float and cover the middle. This was a slower but safer way to fly the TFO, since we only had 4 players. By defending only 3 anchors at a time, we reduced the risk of anchors being disabled or assimilators escaping due to our attention being divided. Here I start with Anchor 3 and then temporarily move to assist Anchor 2 throughout the second stage. Having a player in the middle helps reduce the number of ships that reach the anchors, as well as lets them attack the assimilators on spawn. If you have a tank, this should be their position.
Stitching Anchor 2 is shielded. A second assimilator is attempting to escape. Eliminated. Shield fully deployed.
It's important to keep an eye out for assimilators, as not even one can be allowed to escape. When multiple assimilators were detected at the same time, I moved to engage them before starting the next round of stitching anchors.
Confirmation. Escaping Borg assimilator has been destroyed. You destroyed a Borg assimilator before it could escape. Well done.
In this round, I'll be defending Anchor 4 while also watching for assimilators.
A Borg assimilator has been destroyed while attempting to flee. Stitching
If you're a stronger player, make sure to keep an eye on neighboring anchors. Observe how I move to cover Anchor 5 to help my teammate when they're threatened and ultimately destroyed. There is plenty of incoming damage on this TFO, so try and assist your teammates if they're struggling to handle their mirror Borg. Remember to stay away from the spheres and their 4-kilometer self-destruct radius.
Another Borg assimilator is moving to escape. Intercept and destroy.
Resistance.
Anchor 4 is now fully shielded. Successful deployment of shield to Stitching Anchor 5. Observe. Something is disrupting the stitching network.
When the tactical cubes spawn, our recommendation is to defeat the assimilators first. The assimilator escape objective does not end when they appear, so we target the assimilators immediately before turning on the tactical cubes.
A Borg assimilator has failed to escape.
As a fire at will build, ideally positioned to strike both cubes simultaneously, but don't be surprised if this draws their fire unless there is a dedicated tank. If there is too much incoming fire, position yourself so that only one of them can hit you. There is no time gate here. I start out initially fighting just one cube, before engaging them both and an assimilator, and I use several survivability tools at that time to sustain my hull as I draw fire. It will likely take some time to defeat them if you are the strongest DPS, but once both tactical cubes are destroyed, the TFO ends.
now operational. Sealing the vortex now.
Captain, if this breakdown helped you in your quest to play Stow better, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel. The link to the specific build used for this tutorial is in the description. For more guides and builds, check us out at www.stobetter.com.